Good morning, fellow trucker. I've managed to get up and spend some time thinking and recovering from staying up late last night. I don't have to work today because my truck's broken, which I might have mentioned last week. I don't even remember what I did last week, so I don't think I've streamed since I found that out. So my truck had a little leak in the coolant system. I pointed it out while I was on the road. It was small. It wasn't losing coolant at any great rate, but it turns out my rad needs to be changed. So theoretically, they'll do that today. So here I am, hanging out. Good morning, PC. Good to see you. It's nice to see you over at Chris's. Nice to see you in the chat last night at BSS. I had a really good time. I'm just chilling out this morning. I'm just trying to recover from a late night. And my daughter got hopefully minorly hurt. I'm taking her to the doctor this afternoon, so things will be a little busy and different today. I came downstairs so I could work on my fellowship project, which I'm thinking about a lot. I'm trying to come up with images. Hello, top. Hello, trees. Good to see you. Welcome to my channel, where I'm not really talking about a whole lot, but I decided to go live and do a little chat about things. It's yeah, I think she'll be all right. She fell off her horse on Saturday and was a little bit hurt, but still walking around okay. And it just got us a little bit worried because she's still feeling sore this morning, and we're gonna take her and check and see if she needs an X-ray or whatever. The usual stuff you do when your kid's not feeling good, and something that seems like a minor thing can sometimes be a bigger thing, and sometimes just getting a doctor to tell you what kind of medicine to take is helpful. Oh yeah, I hope everybody's well too. Welcome this morning. So last night we had a great deal of fun at BSS, and I think my camera's lagging a little bit, but that's all right. We probably wore it out last night. I had a lot of fun playing with Dr. Tap and Omnivore, and Maya, who was gracious enough to host us, even though Flat Earth is her least favorite topic. But Dr. Tap enjoys it. So, sort of the way it's gone down. Anyway, I had fun. Talking about Flatside and his nonsense. And this morning, I was thinking about some of his reactions, and we didn't have some of the types of videos that some of them do, and I was glad of that. I talked to Vandy about that yesterday afternoon. We were having a chat about what kind of videos would make sense, and which direction we wanted to go. And basically, I want to talk about his arguments and not his personality and his bullshittery. Because Keith is he's an asshole. Yes, thank you, PC. Yes, and if you're not already subscribed to Maya Atkinson, her show BSS is really great, and Maya is a really enthusiastic about politics. She might not be enthusiastic about the outcome of the most recent election, but she's enthusiastic about politics, political issues, and she really hits things. I really appreciate her take on things. I appreciate her advice on things. She's someone who's I consider a friend, but also someone who's just really got a good eye for what's going on and what we should be worried about in society, especially as someone who's a woman of color in the USA, where things are a little bit different than what I experience, and getting her input on things changes things. Yeah, Black Free Thinkers. That's right. That is off and on a Monday. It's a Monday afternoon. Yeah. Thank you, PC, for pointing that out. And I'm pretty sure if you sub to her channel, she links to her appearances there. So if you want to see Maya do serious stuff, that's there. The unserious show, and I think we need an unserious show every once in a while. Bad Science Sunday it's my favorite show on all of the internet, because the issues that we discuss on other channels and other times on Maya's channel when she's streaming, often she'll sort of simultaneously stream things she's on, which is a great way to share to your audience. Um, I just wanted to point out that the serious stuff can take up a lot of your energy, a lot of your bandwidth, I think is the way we talk these days. Hey, NA, Native Atheist, good to see you. Thank you so much for coming by. Really appreciate the support, and I appreciate anybody that enjoys my content. Um, but all that stuff can wear us out. It's something that I've noticed. I felt physically sick. In my mental health was making me physically sick in the lead up to the election, and when I found out what the outcome of the election was, I wasn't pleased. I don't think it's a good thing for my neighbors, and I don't think it's a good thing for me as a Canadian. I don't think someone who works in the Canadian economy is going to be well looked after by what Trump's promising to do. But I don't want to have a political discussion today. I always end up falling into politics when I say I don't want to do that. But I'm just going to say, if you want a good take, not a shit take or a hot take, but if you want a good take on things that's well reasoned about how people can be maligned and mistreated in our society and not thought of, Maya Atkinson is extremely good at that. She's good at pointing it out from someone who lives it, walks the walk, talks the talk, and really puts perspective on things that people need to have. Because if you live where you don't experience something, you're unaware of it. I don't know if people maybe could see this from my point of view. I live in a very large body, and I'm treated differently because of it. And so that I use that as my source of empathy. But I suspect many people that watch me, if they're in a normal sized body and haven't dealt with metabolic derangement or having to live with diabetes or having to live with this sort of stuff, if you don't live with it, or you're not close to somebody that lives with it, it may be something where it's easy to just believe, oh no, that's a person who has no willpower, that's a person with moral failings and that sort of thing. And you can be really unaware of what people go through if you're not going through it yourself. And I feel the same way about, I don't know what it's like to be a person of color. I don't know what it's like to be a woman. But I've thought about this lots of times about and the one thing about being a large person that I have is an advantage and a disadvantage. But being a large person, people don't fuck with me. I've mentioned that before. People, they might be able to beat me up. They might not. I'm not in super good shape, but I'm a very hard man to handle. And I'm fairly muscular despite I have a lot of extra adipose tissue or fat tissue. I have too much of it, but I'm still a very big guy. I'm not the kind of person people fuck with because they don't want to find out. And the people that do want to fuck around and find out, I'm just not around those people. But women, because they tend to be smaller people, and because they've been attacked, and so many of them have been attacked, live in a certain amount of fear when they walk around. They have to avoid doing certain things, and they're told when they're a victim of a crime that it's partly their fault for being there, for being in a bad situation, which is bullshit. It's a bullshit thing to have to tell them, and it's also true that it's not their fault, but it's true that there are certain situations that you just can't. It's just not safe to be in. We shouldn't live in a society like that. Hard to handle. Yeah. Anyway, so I see in the chat, Crystal's still pissed. Trees is disappointed in most of Americans. And thank you, PC, for posting my going off the end thing. And not hard to handle for the Black Crowes. Yeah, it is a good song. There's a lot of good music from all eras that we can look at, and it's one of the things that history repeats itself often, and we see people behaving in ways that need a song written about them, and sometimes I write a song. And I've been invited to look at a situation I'm not super familiar with, but you may see a song come out by me that Titan recommended I look at something. Well, we'll see. I read up on it a little bit. We'll see what my brain comes up with. Today I'm going to spend some time on something I've had to think about. And I'll bring this up because maybe people in the chat will give me some good advice on this. And I've been getting good advice from my fellows, and I'm making these comic book type presentations of bad situations, and I'm using AI art to make my comic characters, which is it's been challenging, and I'm pretty good at making AI art. And some of my colleagues, my fellows, if you will, have pointed out to me that some of my images are coming out with, like, they're overly idealized characters, and that exists in comics quite a bit. I think a lot of it, like the comics that you see, where the men and women are drawn as exceedingly muscular superheroes. The women wear, I would say, less clothing than the average person would wear walking around in the world. They wear like bathing suit type uniform or costume, if you will. And the men also do stuff like that. And the men show like the men are totally ripped, overly crazily muscular. And the Hulk is always shirtless, because his shirt doesn't fit anymore, all that kind of thing. So these sort of comic book things go this way. So when you ask the prompt from an AI to do a comic book, oftentimes it'll start making characters that aren't exactly what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the style of drawing, but I don't want, a woman in a bathing suit to represent like a doctor who's caring for someone in my stories here, because a lot of them are about healthcare situations. It's an interesting thing that we've come to expect something so much, and it's so written into what's out there. When the AI goes looking for what these prompts mean, I have to put in a lot of negative prompts, a lot of things where I'm like, don't let it look like this, don't do this, don't do that. Like, these are all the things I need to not have in the art. And people have commented that, like, the characters I've used as stand-ins, because a lot of times if I didn't get what I was looking for, I just be like, well, this is the type of character I want to have. So I copy it, erase the background out of it, and pop it in there. And I'm like, okay, well, this character represents this person. And I've started giving them names, so it's easy to find them if I want to look at other versions of them. Because I can also train a model. So if I get like 3 or 4 of them that look right, or even 10 of them, I can put them all together and train the AI. So make my characters look like this, right? But it's a bit of a chore. I'm also trying to find words to express things. And that's the other thing. This is an interesting thing, is that people know I am loquacious as fuck. I say in 10 words what most people could say in 2. And this is an interesting thing, is learning how to communicate in a speech bubble means I can't tell a detailed story with a lot of context and explain all the nuance. I have to show it in the images, and I have to say it in the dialogue. I have to say a lot in fewer words. That's a very interesting challenge for me. So I hope at some point, when this thing goes live, I'll be able to share these products I've been working on. I do have an agreement that I won't be disclosing details about what I'm doing to the general public before it goes public. And so I want to be cautious about what I'm doing, but I'm also wanting to share it with my friends and followers here. Now, Kalasia, Rochelle, it is so nice to have you here. Thank you for coming by. I love having people come in and share with me. Now, I wanted to touch on something that came up last week. Because a lot of things bother me a lot. And I want to say that what we're experiencing now in the world is a time of pessimism, because we're worried that everything will fall apart, and that having bad leaders will lead to bad outcomes, and that can be true. But I want to point out something, and that is that who a figurehead is can change history in a lot of ways, and they'll be the ones 1,000 years from now. They'll name people that are in the highest positions, and they won't, unless they're really, if you don't do a deep dive into it. We think about who was around 1,000 years ago running things. we go back to some times there. I could Google it right now and get some names of great, whether they're famous or infamous leaders and warriors and whatnot. We all know certain names from history of people that were of importance because they were an emperor or a king, or they were a general, right? We know stories about like Genghis Khan. We know stories about Hannibal who crossed the Alps, right? We know about Napoleon. We know about Alexander the Great. We know about these types of people, Mussolini, right? These people, they made the news, right? Top is saying some stuff here. Really enjoy comics or graphic novels as a medium for storytelling. What we're doing with them is a lot like ancient civilizations creating their myths. Yeah, indeed. And Top further says, I think Superman is an example. For example, is our modern society's idea of an omni deity with an updated morality. Yeah. No, I think that's not wrong. This is if you think about Superman is like an omni deity, but not quite. Like it's quite a few limitations on Superman. You can't literally be everywhere all the time, but Superman seems to somehow be there for the big events and to stop the evil deeds of evil people. So like a deity or a demigod, perhaps that like interferes at least as far as not wanting bad things to happen to the people, even though they're not like their creation, right? Like Superman technically is just an alien who has powers that might be very commonplace on their planet, but on Earth are superhuman strength and the ability to fly and or jump and that sort of thing, right? And I think the original Superman could only leap tall buildings in a single bound, but he eventually developed the power of flight. And I think these super characters, these we like as a society to see a character who just can do anything and everything. We think about like Chuck Norris displaying his prowess as a martial arts person who just is never defeated. Right? They might take a few licks, but they always win. Right? Chuck Norris did that in a bunch of movies, and he was in what the hell was it? He was in Walker Texas Rangers, a bit of an odd show. I liked that show back when it was first on. Um, we have this idea of wanting to see justice done, right? I think that's what I enjoyed about the show is that is the Texas Rangers always get their man, right? It's kind of an urban myth or an old West myth, right? About the Texas Rangers. And just to clarify, I'm not talking about the baseball team. But yeah, the Texas Rangers were like, I think they still exist, and much in the way that the RCMP, the Mounties in Canada, are sort of, they have that sort of, there's a bit of a mythology about them. And also like because police officers are people and they make mistakes. There's been a lot of bad stories about certain people in the RCMP, probably in the Texas Rangers too. I haven't looked anything up, but I think you probably find some bad deeds being done by law enforcement officers all around the world. You don't find good deeds because we expect those people to be good, right? We expect those people to fight against bad things, and I think we also get the idea that those people are heroes that are superheroes, and oftentimes, sadly, what oftentimes happens is the police show up after something bad has happened and are there to help sort of sort through the clutter of what's going on and help people move on and get things sorted out. And that's not what we see on TV, right? Like we see on TV that like the police know someone's about to do this bad crime and they're racing there and they get there just in time to stop some terrible thing from happening. But in real life, the terrible things happening is unknown until it's already happened, and that sucks, right? That's a That's kind of a sad reality is that our heroes are often the people that come after something terrible has happened and try to help us put the pieces back together. And I think maybe that's what we're looking for now. Like people that are pissed about the results of the election, about the way people voted, feel like something terrible has happened. And they might be right, but there's a huge swath of people that didn't want that to happen. And those people can band together. I'm not suggesting, and I want to make this clear, that they band together to undo what's happened. I mean, certainly people that want to make sure it was done right are well within their rights to do that, and I suspect that sort of thing will happen. But at the same time, a couple of idiots in charge of the White House, or even worse, smart people with ill intention, is maybe not good for society. It's probably not going to do good things. But at the same time, the power of the people to keep voting in their own states, their own provinces, their own countries, their own places around the world for what is better, will eventually spread around the world. It is disheartening to see people voting against themselves, because when I hear the things that Trump says he's going to do, I'm like, I would not vote for that. That is a stupid idea. But some of these things hit people in a different way, and it seems impossible to ignore that that he backs up the hatred and fear that people have for others. And this is what I'm trying to convince people not to do. Don't have hatred and fear for others. And the reason I want to convince people of that is simple. Other people are just humans like yourself. They're not your enemies, most of them. Most of them aren't taking any time to do that. So, I don't know if this is the kind of message people want to hear or not, but we're going to have to patch things back up again to some degree. I don't know what that looks like. Some of the people that voted for Trump, the majority of them probably felt like they weren't voting against themselves. They probably thought they were voting for a better life for themselves, a life where they're not they're not in fear for the things they've been told to fear. I fear trying to remember to repeat them all and get them accurate. And I think, like, if you are a person who voted for Trump and you were voting for Trump because you've bought into xenophobic tendencies, maybe like that's a thing that could happen. Perhaps you're xenophobic. You don't like or trust people from other countries. I'm one of those people, right? I'm one of those foreigners. If you're in the U.S., if you had the chance to vote for Trump, then I'm a foreigner to you. I'm from this foreign country called Canada. It's a weird place. It snows here. It snows in a lot of the U.S. too. It's an interesting thing. It's like we get called the Great White North, but the white doesn't stop here. It hits all sorts of states. It's weird to look at my neighbors who a lot of them I know, and they're wonderful people, and think, what. Part of my problem is all the ones that I like hanging around with me are all ones that are pretty much in favor of anything but Trump. I heard more than one person say a sack of potatoes would do a better job of being president. I think maybe my biggest fear is that the main reason Trump wants to be president is to have and preserve power for himself and his friends. He talks and acts a bit like a organized crime boss at times, which is super unfortunate, and he praises dictatorial rulers, and that scares people. Right? We can hope that the way the American legal system is set up and the way their political system is set up will help push back against that. But one of the things that I think we're perhaps most fearful of, and what I'm fearful of, is that those safeguards and things that have been written into the way the country should be protected from, like a single person ruling it, will be hollowed out by the fact that everyone in the Republican Party is a yes man for Trump for some reason. It's hard to understand why. Looking for where we at. Rochelle says Trump is simple. He wants power, money, and attention. The powers behind him pulling the strings are a different story, though. Yeah, I know, because I think they want that power, and they want the power and money, but they don't necessarily care about the attention. That's a scary thing. I don't want those things for my life. I'm very simple. Like I would love, like, the thing I want most of all, the thing that would remove most of my anxiety, is just to live in a world where the amount of money I make pays for my housing and my food and a little bit of extra money so I can enjoy myself. I work a lot of hours in a year. I think having a little bit of downtime would be reasonable for me. I think everybody should have that. I think that's totally reasonable. And so when people have wealth of a kind that would buy out my life hundreds of times over, it's a weird thing to look at, right? And people say, well, you're a communist. You want to take money from the wealthy and spread it around to everybody, make everybody equal. Well, it's not necessarily what I want. I think capitalism can help promote some healthy competition in industry and stuff like that, because we don't want monopolies and duopolies and oligarchs running things. The agenda behind him: Project 2025, Christian Nationalism, Agenda 47, the Heritage Foundation, the Koch family, I think that it's pronounced, etc. Yeah, Rochelle, it's scary. There's a lot of things in there. Some people want those things. They want those things so badly. And I wonder if they want them if the tide turns on them, right? I've said this before. I hear a lot of hate and vitriol towards Islam from the Christian right. But those people vote with them because it's the same damn book. It's the same damn playbook. And Islam is more popular worldwide than Christianity, which probably makes it the more likely to be true religion, I guess. I don't know. It's a newer one. It's just a newer take on an old bunch of bullshit. Why do people hate Muslims, I wonder? Sure, they're followers of the Prophet Muhammad. And a lot of the things they follow are right out of the Bible, right out of the Old Testament. They read and follow the same damn shit and then add a bunch of shit about their new guy. Just like Jesus, just like John Smith, just like L. Ron Hubbard. You rewrite the book a little bit and you grab some people and you say, we got it right, everyone else got it wrong. Well, you get a lot of people behind you, and then they'll do what they think is right, because they're not voting. They're not voting so much. I don't think the average person who's like a Christian is voting saying, "Oh, I have to destroy this person's life and make it miserable. I think I have to save this person from the wrath of God." You know, they might be saying that to themselves. They might be saying, like, no, you've got it so wrong. You're so fucking wrong. Like if you were over in Chris's stream earlier, the Christians in the chat are, you're lying, you're wrong, you've got it all wrong. Why are you tearing down our God? Why are you speaking ill of our merciful God? And why do you not realize you're all sinners and that Eve and Adam turned their backs on what we need, which is, you know, this eternal life and whatever, you know. I don't know. I wish people wouldn't try to impose their religion on everyone else. I got to think a lot of people that are voting for Trump or voting, they think, well, Trump's going to protect my right to be a Christian, because they believe people are trying to take that away. I don't care what you believe. I don't care what kind of songs you sing on a Sunday morning, or what kind of, you know, crackers you eat and wine you drink on. I don't give a shit. You know, I just don't want you running my life, and I don't want you to take the right to healthcare away from me, from anyone in my family. I don't want to take it away from anyone in my neighbor's country. I just don't want that. I don't want you to tell people how to pray. I don't want to tell people that don't pray that what they're doing is wrong. I want you to just pray away. Pray to your heart's content. And I hope you're right. I hope your God saves you for eternity and you get to spend eternity worshiping them in heaven. If that's what you want. I hope that happens for you. I don't think it will. I don't think it's a thing. But everybody who has a religion, if you're living your life for that, and you're giving away this life that you have here that you know about for sure, so that one will be better. I mean, that's awesome. I guess. I hope it works out for you. I like to be a good person now. I'd like to treat people with respect right here, right now. And here we are. We got to wake up in the morning, go to work. I'm finally back to work, and I'm going to go hopefully tomorrow. Hopefully they'll fix my truck. I'll get back in the truck tomorrow. Get my sleep schedule back to normal too. But yeah, I got to push it. I got to push myself to get back at it. This is a good thing, but it's a hard thing. All right, now let's talk about what we can do to fix things. What we do to make things better. We can keep talking. We can keep sharing. We can keep having conversations. We can keep. There's lots of levels where things can be made better, and we'll hopefully have a conversation with people, a good dialogue with people where they'll see that what they're voting for, what they're pushing, what they're hoping will happen, is not in their best interest, and it's a scary thing when people are like, I do not want my life to be good. I don't want my rights protected. Because if I vote against myself, then the people that I think are evil and wrong will take it in the ass, and that'll be bad for them. And even if I have to suffer watching my peers, my colleagues, my fellow humans here on earth, watching them suffer makes me happy because I'm doing it for my God. That's a weird way to think. In my opinion, I don't want Christians to suffer. I don't want Muslims to suffer. I don't want Jews to suffer. I don't want Hindus to suffer. I don't want Sikhs to suffer. I don't want Buddhists to suffer. I do not want people of there's multiple indigenous religions and spiritual practices. I don't want any of them to suffer. And I don't want any of them to have to go to hell. I damn sure don't want any of them to have to go to heaven. The guy running that place sounds like a fucking dick. But it doesn't matter what I think about it. I want them to be able to do what they do and enjoy it and live their lives without imposing it on me. It's a pretty simple thing. But if you're trying to implant a theocracy in your country, the next time a larger group of people with a different idea than you of a religion comes along, they're not going to protect your religion. They're going to protect their religion. I hope you remember that. They don't give a shit about your fake God. They don't give a shit about their real one. But if you cast aside that theocratic ideal that you have, you could keep practicing your religion forever if you want to. It's obviously very important to you. I believe that the main advantages to religious people's lives and is the gathering of people together. Get together. I remember when I went to church, and a lot of it was people getting together, having coffee together. It was kind of fun. You have a little chat. You might talk about things that were said in the sermon. I went to a very sort of liberal kind of a church, as they go. I'm liberal in some ways and conservative in others. It's kind of weird. But I'm glad I went to that kind of a church because I saw male and female preachers talk, because it was a really good thing to see. They weren't as outwardly anti-gay as I've seen other religious places be. And I appreciated that. I appreciate looking back and seeing what other people have heard and had pushed into them. That I guess it's the LGBTQ plus IA, and I always hesitate with the letters. I really feel bad should I leave anybody out. But what I mean is anybody anybody who's part of the group of people whose sexuality is different than cis hetero, I guess, because people are unkind to them to the point of killing them, whether by making them feel so bad that they take their own lives, or whether they actually abuse and kill them when they see and come up against them in society. That's just pretty fucked up. Those people are not trying to ruin your life. They're not trying to take over your life, your children's lives. There's a lot of fear mongering about it. It's very sad that these people cannot just be themselves. It is extremely, extremely off-putting to me to hear people speak so unkindly about these wonderful people. And I don't know how many of them watch me. I really don't, but I know of a couple that do, where they're out as being something other than a cis hetero person, and I really appreciate that they come by to hear what I say, because I'm not one of them, but I do want to align myself with them. I want to be their ally as best I can, because the things they go through parallel the things I go through so much. Feeling uncomfortable in your own body is a very, very tough thing. Or being comfortable in a body that you're told is the wrong kind of body is a tough thing too. I mean, it's just, I don't know how to explain it, but I feel a certain, let's call it a kinship, with people who are being abused and yelled at and made a scapegoat by a political system that just seems hell-bent on power and power alone, and just doesn't care a damn about these people, when they're just wonderful human beings. All the ones I've met are just wonderful people. Some of them have issues. Some of them make mistakes, just like any human. And so, I'm sure you could probably say, okay, well, like this, I don't like this person, and they happen to be trans, or this gay person is terrible because of the way they talk, or whatever. Okay, fine. There's assholes amongst them, just like the rest of us. That's going to happen. But the vast majority of them, we get a much higher rate than the general society, are just beautiful, wonderful people that have great hearts, and they're wonderfully intelligent, creative, and I'm so glad some of them are part of this community. I'm so glad that any of them would come by to hear what I have to say, when I'm just a big fat white dude with a beard, and I'm hetero, I'm cis, I'm all the terrible things, I look like the people that are trying to oppress you, apparently. That's I feel bad about that. I feel bad that other people think like this is just this one way to be, and if I was skinnier and taller, I'd be I'd be one of them, I guess. Is that what they think? I don't fucking know. I sure hope not. Well, I've rambled quite a long time. I'm not going to make this a super long show. I do want to invite people to think really hard about what you can do in the face of bad things happening, in the face of people taking over in some places that have ideas in mind that aren't the best ones. Remember that 4 years is a long time, but it's not forever. It's rough. It's rough to deal with something like this, because I think the general consensus is that had the Democrats won the election, they would have been far more fair to the other side, to the GOP and their voters, than the GOP wants to be to the Democrats and their supporters. So I'd like to remind people, we live in a democracy. You have to accept what the majority want to do, even if it's not the right thing. But if you win the majority and you're in control, it is your duty, it is your responsibility to reach out to and work with the other side and try to come to agreements on things where you're maybe closer than you think, and try to put aside the pettiness, the really petty differences, the things that were used to wedge in by fear of the others. Try to open your fucking mind up a little bit to who people are. And, I guess maybe the intent is to make money hand over fist. That seems to be the general consensus I get from people on the right, is that the ability to make cash is number one. And while you're making cash and praising Jesus, try to find a way to put your camel through the eye of a needle. Try to spread that wealth to everybody. Try to think of a world where consumers have wealth that they can use to consume and make capitalism the best it can be. A world where you can, stall inflation a little bit and raise wages for everybody. Improve employment for everybody. While you're making money hand over fist, the best way to do that is to have people working for you. Employ as many people as you can, and don't worry a fuck about what their religion or their political leanings are. A lot of hardworking Democrats. There's a lot of hardworking people from all parts of the world, all over. Don't worry about whether they're an immigrant. Don't worry about whether they share your skin color or your religion. That's bullshit. And don't worry about who they fuck. If they happen to enjoy their sexuality, let them be themselves. If they're with consenting adults, it's none of your fucking business. So stop worrying about that, you sick fucks. Stop being a sick fuck and be a good fucking capitalist. And make as many customers as you can that can pay well. Improve the wealth of everyone in your nation. And improve the living conditions for everyone in your nation. If you do that, they're not going to stop buying shit. They're going to need a lot of shit. They're going to need cars. They're going to need trucks. They're going to need some sort of energy to fuel them. Right? That stuff's just going to have to fly off the fucking shelves, and you need people to keep those shelves stocked. And their houses are going to have to be bigger and nicer. They need bigger TVs to consume more propaganda. We gotta make more stuff, right? More microwave ovens, more colored TVs. Isn't that what Dire Straits was talking about, Mark Knopfler? Yeah. Yeah, we got to do it. Let's let capitalism fucking reign. That's what the GOP is all about, right? The almighty fucking dollar. Now, if the dollar's important, then God ain't. God isn't the dollar. You may say in God we trust on your money because you changed that. But this isn't the way life ought to be. Let everybody enjoy whatever deities they enjoy. And if it's no deity, let them enjoy that too. It's a nice quiet life on a Sunday morning when you don't have to put on fucking fancy clothes and sit in a stuffy church or whatever kind of temple or thing you go to, whatever day you do it on. I grew up in a sort of pseudo-Christian family. A lot of my family is actually quite religious. I somehow busted out of it. Maybe my parents were pretty sane people and pretty level-headed on the whole thing. I appreciate that a lot. It's a gift I got from them that I try to give to my children, the ability to think clearly about who's lying to you and why. All right, capitalists, start your fucking engines. And don't fucking stop. Make sure every goddamn man, woman, and child has a job making so much fucking cash they don't know what to do with it all except come to wherever it is that you make your fucking money and spend it. All right, remember that. Taking away people's ability to earn a living and pay to live in society ain't fucking good for the economy. And it ain't good for your bottom line. You make a lot more fucking money. Governments make more money. They make a percentage of your income, right? Why not make the percentage of a bigger income, right? Give people fucking money to work with. If that's your end goal is power and wealth, give everybody wealth, because wealth turns into power, and purchasing power will fucking drive the economic engine of the world. Think beyond your own fucking borders too. Stop building walls and start building bridges. You sick fucks. I don't get it. I don't get it at all. It just baffles me how people can look at somebody whose skin's a slightly different tone and say, holy fuck, you're a terrible person. Oh my God, you're a monster. Is that what they're saying? I mean, certainly at this point, you said it enough to them, they look at me and think I'm a monster. You see what you fucking done? You made enemies where none existed, and now they're fucking there. Does that make sense? Does that actually do anything good for us? Does that actually brought society anywhere, ever? We're humans. We're on the earth. 8 billion strong. I'm looking at a globe right beside me here because of my weird fascination with flat earthers and their weird shit. So I have a globe. My camera is glitching the fuck out. I hope you guys like this image here. This is Tank Girl. She's come to the edge of a big cliff. Anyway, Top, thank you for hearing me. It says I've got people watching. I appreciate when people watch. I hope you like and subscribe. Subscribe to me. I'm a very small YouTuber. I'm a very large man, but I'm a very small YouTuber. And I'm not in this for money. I'm not in it for anything except a chance to speak my mind on things that bother me. Does flat earth bore you? And I can understand that. The thing is, if you bore flat earth, you might fall off. You might fall off of it and land. I don't know where the fuck you'd land, because I don't think they believe in space. I don't know what would happen if you put Austin Whitsitt and Flatzoid on a drill rig and just kept feeding them stuff. Like, at what point would they realize the earth ain't fucking flat? I don't fucking know. I know they're really upset that the deepest drills, like the drills, melt because of the heat under the crust of the earth. Wow, they're fucking stupid. Anyway, but I'm baffled and entertained. I mean, that's the thing. It's like Flatzoid. Flatzoid is a hateful fucking prick. He's a biblical flat earther. He's a hate person. He preaches hate and intolerance. He's an anti-Semite and just an absolute bullshit person. And Witless is too. A bunch of them are just absolute fucking garbage. Racist, misogynistic fucking assholes. I don't know why they make me think of T-ball. When I look at their faces, I see a ball on the tee and I'm looking for my bat. I feel bad about that. But like when I hear them spew hate, that's how I feel. I just want to smack them with some timber, and not like a kid's T-ball timber. I mean, like the kind of bat I would hold on to, like an 8x8 piece of fucking hemlock. Run it on the lathe to make it a little easier to hold on to at the one end. And just, us Canadians, we're loggers, right? We're loggers and fishermen up here, and mineral extractors and oil extractors. Yeah, we got the roughnecks, the loggers, the fucking fishers. Yeah, we're a rough bunch, eh? But yeah, when I see Buddy out there spewing hate and vitriol against people, I just want to fucking smack him hard. I want to hit a home fucking run. You know what I mean? I feel bad about that. If you say shit that's so fucking hateful that people just want to knock your fucking head right off with a piece of timber, that's I mean, it's good for views, I guess. Is that what it's about? I mean, where does this hate come from? What do you gain from hating another person? What does that do? What does that do to you, other than fuck up your mind? And it kind of feels like something that would just sort of be like an illness, a toxic sort of a thing in your brain. I'd hate to fucking think like that all the time. I don't want to hate people. I like to think that there's a good person in there with bad ideas. That's kind of like how I'm wired. I give people the benefit of the doubt, but when I hear this, it blows my mind. And I said last night on BSS, I really enjoyed going on there and talking with folks about flat Earth, and I hope you enjoyed it if you came by. But there's this weird thing about these folks, right? They're wired in a certain way to not trust reality, to not trust what they call mainstream science. It's lying to them. It's this weird thing. They look back at certain things and they're like, oh no, like these ancient scientists, they had it right. Like the problem is that science moved forward. Science changed its mind. Oftentimes that's an argument they'll make, is like you can't trust science because it changes. Young Earth creationists do the same thing. We can't trust this. They found new evidence and changed their minds about what was going on. They said this, and then 100 years later they said that. It's like, yeah, because like a clear thinking person gets new information and does something new with it. I want to say that I don't believe I was ever really a racist, but I heard othering language when I was young, and I repeated it sometimes, and it was fucked up. I never should have done that. I didn't know it was fucked up, and I learned more. And I think I can't remember who said it. I think it might have been Maya Angelou, who's a famous poet who happens to have black skin and be a woman. Said a lot of neat things. This might not be her quote, but it's something about like, if you know, when you learn better, you do better. I think that's right. And I don't want to misattribute the quote, but it's been said by lots of people. I've repeated it because it's true. If you know shit and you spew shit, fine. But when somebody points out to you that that's a shit position, give it a thought. Don't just double down on the bullshit. Give it a good fucking thought, please. Think about who you're talking about, what you're saying, and think about where you were born. Think about the world you were born into and how much control you had over who you are as a person. And think to yourself, the fact that I was born in this X place, this state or province, and in this or that country, and my parents happen to have this background, and so my skin is this color. This is the color of my skin. It's kind of a light pale thing. I'm of a Northern European background on both sides. Of how I turned out. I happen to be born in Canada. It's a northern country with cold climate. Can't even get a suntan here. Well, you can. That's bullshit. You can, but we like to play up our Great White North thing. We all live in igloos, right? No. You know what? We live in cities. We have roads and stuff here. Some of them are pretty rough. Like there is a lot of back country here. There's a lot of wide open space here. It's a big fucking place. And most of us don't travel very far north. Good morning, Tori. So good to see you. Tori, I'm going on a rant about people that are idiots and hateful bigots. So yeah, take a look at where you're from. Why do you look the way you look? Why do you think the things you think? And is that just an accident? And people that were from somewhere else, is that person just an asshole because of where they were born? Like a person, like I hear Christians hating on Muslims all the time. I think somebody's born like a baby in Saudi Arabia. They're just an inborn terrible, terrible person, right? What a terrible goddamn person they are, right? Born to the wrong religion, born to the wrong society. Their skin's the wrong color. They style their hair the wrong way. They wear the wrong clothes. They read the wrong Bible. They got everything wrong. What do they think about you? Yeah, the Muslim person who studies Islam, follows Muhammad, follows Allah, the way you might follow God and Jesus, and you wear a cross around your neck, and they have the crescent moon is one of their symbols, right? Like, yeah, isn't that fucking great? Like, you were born in the right place, and they were born in the wrong place, and if they if they feel like they're super oppressed there because they're like, maybe they're a woman and maybe they're born in a poorer family, or they can't find a good job there because it's not a very well run place, or maybe it is really well run. My understanding is a place full of gazillionaires, and I don't know what the fuck goes on. They hire people from all over to make shit in these Middle Eastern countries where they have lots of wealth, but a lot of them don't have wealth. A lot of people are underemployed. They're not doing well, and wars are happening. People are fighting each other over, literally like bad shit. Their great grandfathers said to each other. They're fighting each other now, and then because they're still doing it now, the pain is real. It's real, and it's now. I don't want to talk about the Middle East because I don't have a great deal of political knowledge about the Middle East. But I can tell you, if you're shooting each other because you were born on the wrong side of the fucking tracks, or the wrong side of the fucking road, or you were born to the wrong family, like holy fuck. Let's have a good thought here, people. People born south of the Rio Grande aren't weird people that you can't trust. People born north of the 49th parallel, we're not so much different from you. And I got fucking news for you. If you're a Canadian, it doesn't mean you look like me necessarily. I happen to look like maybe what you think. But a lot of Canadians are from all sorts of backgrounds, including Indigenous. And Native Atheist is here, who I believe is of Native ancestry. And I really appreciate that they're here. And that they might be able to share about what it's like to be a Native, to be from an Indigenous background. There's a lot of words that are used to describe First Nations people or Indigenous or Aboriginal, and there's a bunch of words. And I don't want to say one that's rude or offensive, but what these words talk about is someone whose ancestry goes back to, many tens of thousands of years in the Americas, particularly North America is the one I'm familiar with. And these people fought with each other too. They didn't trust each other. This seems to be something that happens. And now they have to gather together because their numbers are so small. And their numbers are small for a really shitty reason. You know what that shitty reason is? Because people came here and found them inconvenient because they wanted to keep the territories they had. They wanted to live their lives the way they'd already been living them. Holy fuck, isn't that a weird fucking thing? Not weird that you want to preserve the life you have in the place you live. It's fucked up, let me tell you. I don't want to see this happening in the world. Anyway, I've rambled for a fucking hour here nearly. I don't know if I've accomplished anything. But I do seriously hope that people will put aside their differences now. And, whatever it was that caused you to do it, you did. Let it go. Well, my kid's calling me now, so I'm going to wrap it up now. I'm going to wrap it up now so I can have a chat with my daughter. Thank you, everybody, for coming. I love the fact that people are here. I love you for supporting me. So thank you so much. And I'll see you again soon. Good to see you, Jester.